My son asked me to sell my house to fund her wedding. I refused, so she blocked me. My son asked me to sell my house to pay for her big wedding. When I said no, she blocked my phone number and told me I wasn't welcome at her wedding anymore. 3 weeks later, she called me for a family dinner to make up. But when I got there, she was sitting with 3 lawyers and my ex-husband. What happened next will shock you. Let me tell you this crazy story. But first, thank you so much for watching our videos. Your support means everything to us here at Granny's Twisted Tales. If you like these real family stories, please hit that subscribe button. Also, tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. We love giving shout-outs. Today's special shout-out goes to Maria Rodriguez from Texas. Thanks for being such a loyal viewer. Now let's jump into this wild story. My name is Margaret. Margaret Chin if you want my full name. I'm 59 years old and I work part-time at the local library after being a teacher for 35 years. I live in a cozy 2-bedroom house in Portland that I bought all by myself 15 years ago. It's not fancy, but it's mine. I painted every room, planted the garden, and fixed the leaky pipes when they broke. My house is my safe place, my happy place. I never thought it would become the reason my own daughter would turn against me. But that's exactly what happened. Jessica is my only child. My sweet little girl who used to braid my hair and help me bake cookies every Sunday. Her father David and I got divorced when she was 8 years old. It wasn't anyone's fault really. We just grew apart like 2 trees planted too close together. He moved to California with his new girlfriend pretty quickly. I got our house and the job of raising Jessica mostly alone. David would visit during holidays and send birthday cards. But I was the one who packed her lunches, helped with homework, and stayed up all night when she was sick. I tried my best to give Jessica everything she needed. Maybe not always the most expensive toys or clothes, but lots of love and attention. I went to every school play, every soccer game, every piano recital. Even when I was tired from work, I always made time for her. I thought I was doing a good job as a mom. Sure, as Jessica got older, she started wanting more expensive things. Designer purses, brand name shoes, fancy restaurants. She would visit her dad in California and come back talking about his big house and swimming pool. But I figured that was normal for teenagers. Then came the phone call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning about 2 months ago. I was drinking my coffee and reading a book when my phone rang. Jessica's name popped up on the screen. I smiled and answered happily. "Hi honey," I said. "Mom," she said in a serious voice. "I need to ask you something important." My stomach started to feel funny. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "Yes. Well, you know I'm getting married to Brandon next month. The wedding is getting really expensive. Like way more expensive than we thought it would be." I could tell where this was going and I didn't like it. She kept talking. "I was thinking about your house. It's worth a lot of money, right? Maybe like $50,000 or $60,000. If you sold it now, you could help us pay for the wedding. You always said you would do anything for me, right, Mom?" Those words hit me like a truck. It felt like she was trying to trick me into saying yes. "Jessica," I said slowly, "you want me to sell my house?" "Well, yes," she said. "You don't really need such a big place anyway. You could rent a small apartment somewhere." I looked around my living room. At the family photos on the walls. The bookshelf I built myself. At the couch where we used to watch movies together. This wasn't just a house. This was my home. "Jessica," I said firmly, "I'm not selling my house." There was a long quiet moment. "Why not?" she asked, sounding angry. "Because this house is mine. I worked hard to buy it. I fixed it up myself. I'm not going to give up my home just so you can have an expensive wedding." She was quiet again, but this time it felt cold and mean. "So that's your final answer," she said. "Yes, it is," I told her. And then she hung up on me. Just like that. I tried calling her back an hour later, but I got a message saying my number was blocked. Blocked. My own daughter blocked my phone number like I was some stranger trying to sell her something. I sat in my kitchen chair feeling like someone had punched me in the stomach. I couldn't even cry. I just felt empty and confused. The next day, I checked Facebook to see if Jessica had posted anything. Her page was still public, and what I saw made me feel even worse. She had written, "It's so sad when people care more about things than family. Some people show their true colors when you need help the most." All her friends were commenting things like, "You deserve better," and "Family should always come first." One person even said, "Maybe it's better she's not at your wedding if she's going to be negative." There was in black and white. I was uninvited from my own daughter's wedding. I didn't write any comments back. I didn't try to defend myself online. What was the point? Jessica had already made up her mind about me. The days after that were the loneliest I'd ever felt. My house felt too quiet. I kept reaching for my phone to call Jessica, then remembering that she had blocked me. I felt ashamed, even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. It's hard to explain, but when your own child turns against you, you start to wonder if maybe you really are a terrible person. My sister Carol was the first person I told about what happened. She came over on Saturday with Chinese food from our favorite restaurant. "You look terrible," she said as she walked into my kitchen. "Jessica and I had a fight," I said quietly. "About what?" Carol asked. So I told her the whole story. About Jessica wanting me to sell my house. About her blocking my phone number. About the mean things she posted on Facebook. Carol listened without saying anything, which is unusual for her because she usually has opinions about everything. When I finished talking, Carol was quiet for a minute. Then she said, "That's not okay, Margaret. Asking you to sell your house is crazy. This is your home." "But what if I'm being selfish?" I asked. "What if a good mother would help her daughter?" Carol shook her head hard. "A good mother teaches her daughter that she can't have everything she wants just because she wants it. Jessica is acting like a spoiled brat." It felt good to hear someone say that I wasn't crazy. But it also made me sad because Carol was talking about my daughter like she was a stranger. "You should go talk to her," Carol said. "Not to apologize, but to remind her who you are. You're not just a bank account with feelings. You're her mother." I thought about it, but I was scared. What if Jessica was even meaner to me in person? What if she called the police and said I was bothering her? I looked at a photo on my kitchen counter. It showed Jessica and me at the beach last summer. We both had sand in our hair and big smiles on our faces. That felt like a different lifetime now. 4 days passed without any word from Jessica. Then I got a text from a number I didn't know. "Hi Mom. Can we please talk? Dinner on Sunday. Just you and me. I promise." My heart started beating fast. Part of me was so happy that Jessica wanted to see me. But another part of me was worried. Why was she texting from a different number? Why did this feel strange? I texted back, "Where?" And she sent me the address of a fancy steakhouse downtown. Carol told me not to go alone. "This smells like a trap," she said. But I went anyway because I missed my daughter. I got to the restaurant 5 minutes early. I wore my best dress and even put on lipstick. I was nervous but also hopeful. Maybe Jessica had realized she was wrong. Maybe she missed me too. I told the hostess I was meeting Jessica Chen for dinner. She smiled and led me to a table in the back corner. That's when I saw them. David, my ex-husband, sitting on one side. 2 men in expensive suits sitting across from him. And Jessica in the middle, wearing a fake smile that didn't reach her eyes. My stomach dropped. I stopped walking and just stared at them. Jessica stood up and waved at me. "Mom. Thanks for coming. Please sit down." I didn't move. I just looked at David, then at the 2 strange men, then back at Jessica. "What is this?" I asked. David gave me a smug look. "We just want to have a conversation, Margaret." One of the men, who was bald and wearing glasses, spoke up. "Mrs. Chen, I'm Robert Martinez. This is my partner James. We're attorneys." "Attorneys?" I repeated. "For what?" Jessica stepped forward holding a thick folder. "It's just some papers, Mom. Something to help secure my future. You said you wanted to take care of me, right?" "Stop," I said louder than I meant to. "Mom, just listen." "No," I said firmly. I don't know what kind of game this is, but I'm not signing anything. David laughed. Come on, Margaret. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic? I almost shouted. You ambush me with lawyers and call it dinner? If this is what you think love looks like, I want nothing to do with it. Jessica's face turned red. So you're just going to abandon me? I stared right at her. You abandoned me. The day you asked me to give up my home for your party. The day you blocked my number like I was spam mail. She started to say something, but I held up my hand. I'm done, I said clearly and calmly. Then I turned around and walked out of that restaurant without looking back. As I got to the door, I heard Jessica call out, "Fine. Don't ever contact me again." But I kept walking. I didn't drive home right away. I sat in my car in the parking lot with my hands shaking. Not from fear, but from anger. From disappointment so deep it felt like drowning. I knew Jessica had changed over the years, but I never thought she would be this cruel. The girl who used to make me breakfast in bed on Mother's Day was gone. In her place was someone I didn't recognize. Someone who would set up an ambush with lawyers and call it a family dinner. I ended up driving to the park where I used to take Jessica when she was little. There was a playground with swings and a slide. We would spend hours there. She would go down the slide over and over while I pushed her on the swings. I sat on a bench and tried to figure out where I went wrong. Was it the divorce? Was it because I couldn't buy her everything her friends had? Was it because David lived in a bigger house in California? I didn't know. Maybe it was everything. Maybe it was nothing. Around midnight I finally went home. Carol called me the next morning before I even had coffee. Well, how did it go? She asked. It was a trap, I said. She had David there and 2 lawyers. They wanted me to sign papers to give away all my money and my house. Carol was quiet for a moment. Then she said some words I won't repeat because children might be watching this video. Did you sign anything? She asked. No. I walked out. Good for you, Carol said. I'm proud of you. I sat on my bed looking at the spot where Jessica's senior photo used to hang. I had taken it down the day before because it made me too sad to look at. She looked me in the eye and tried to trick me into giving her everything I own, I told Carol. That's not love, Carol said angrily. That's stealing. She really believed I would just hand over my house and my savings, I said. She learned that somewhere, Carol said. We both knew she meant David. He had always been good at making people feel guilty for not giving him what he wanted. That week, the silence in my house felt different. Not lonely but peaceful. I started doing things I hadn't done in months. I planted new flowers in my garden. I organized my closet. I read 3 books. I felt like I was waking up from a bad dream. Then the voicemails started coming. The first one was from David. His voice was smooth and fake like always. Margaret, what you did at dinner was completely inappropriate. You embarrassed Jessica in public. All she wants is some help starting her new life. You have more than you need. She's your only child. Don't you want her to be happy? Then Jessica's stepmom called. Her voice was sweet but fake. Margaret, just sign the papers. You're being stubborn for no reason. Jessica is family. Family helps each other. Then came a call from Jessica herself. Her voice sounded like she had been crying. Mom, I don't know how else to ask for help. Brandon and I are struggling to pay for everything. You have so much money saved up. Can't you just help us get started? I didn't mean to make you mad. I listened to that message 5 times. Not because it made me want to help her, but because I was trying to figure out if she really believed what she was saying. Did she really think I was rich? Did she really think asking for my house was normal? The next day, she posted another long message on Facebook. Something about toxic parents who only love their children when they can control them. Her friends filled the comments with heart emojis and messages like, "You're so brave," and "cut toxic people out of your life." But I didn't respond to any of it. I didn't try to tell my side of the story online. I wasn't going to fight with my own daughter on the internet for everyone to see. Carol came over again that weekend with pizza and ice cream. You're too quiet, she said. What are you thinking about? I changed my will, I told her. She looked surprised. I took Jessica out of it. The house goes to charity now. My savings go to the animal shelter. Jessica gets nothing. Carol nodded slowly. I think that's smart, she said. I never thought I'd have to protect myself from my own child. You didn't fail her, Carol said firmly. She failed you. That night, I sat on my back porch listening to the crickets chirp. I used to think happiness was something that happened to you, like winning the lottery or getting a surprise gift. But now I understand that happiness is something you choose, something you fight for, and sometimes it costs more than you ever thought you could pay. Taking Jessica out of my will felt like cutting off a diseased branch from a tree. It hurt, but it also felt necessary. But instead of feeling relief, I felt more alone than ever. Every night, I would sit in my favorite chair with a cup of tea and wonder if I had made the right choice. Was I being too harsh? Was there still a chance to fix things? The answer came on a Thursday morning when Carol called me with bad news. Margaret, you need to see what Jessica posted now. I didn't want to look, but I did. Jessica had posted a long message with crying face selfies and screenshots of typed words. The message said, "Some of you know what I've been dealing with. My mother has decided that her money is more important than her own daughter. She refused to help me with my wedding and now she won't even talk to me. I guess some people never really learn how to love their children." The comments were awful. People I didn't even know were calling me terrible names. One person wrote, "What kind of mother abandons her daughter over money?" Another said, "She's probably one of those narcissist parents who only love their kids when they're useful." Felt like screaming. I wanted to comment and tell everyone the truth. That Jessica had tried to trick me into giving away my house. That she had ambushed me with lawyers. That she was the one who blocked my number first. But I didn't. I knew that internet arguments never change anyone's mind. People believe what they want to believe. By Monday, I had gotten 6 voicemails from family members I hadn't heard from in years. David's brother called to tell me I was being disgustingly selfish. My cousin Emma called to say I should just give Jessica the house because she's young and needs it more. Even my old neighbor from 20 years ago called to say she never thought I was the type to hold grudges. I listened to each message once, then deleted them. These people didn't know the whole story, but they had already decided I was the villain. That afternoon, I went to see my lawyer to make sure my new will was legal. Mr. Patterson had helped me buy my house 15 years ago. He was a kind man who had always given me good advice. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, looking at the papers. "Completely sure," I said. "She might try to contest it in court," he warned me. "Let her try," I said. "Do you want to write a letter? Something she'll read after you're gone?" I thought about it for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I'll write something." I went home and sat at my kitchen table where Jessica and I used to do puzzles together. I wrote a letter explaining why I made this choice. I told her that I loved her, but love doesn't mean giving up everything you've worked for. That real family doesn't show up with lawyers and tricks. That trust, once broken, takes more than tears and social media posts to rebuild. I ended the letter with these words. I chose peace over being used. I hoped she would never have to read it, but I felt better knowing it was there. Few days later, something unexpected happened. I was getting groceries when I ran into Mrs. Johnson, my old teaching partner. She had seen the Facebook posts because her daughter was friends with Jessica online. I expected her to be cold to me, but instead she gave me a big hug. "I just want you to say I understand," she said quietly. "My son tried something similar with me last year. It's not easy, but sometimes you have to protect yourself, even from your own kids." I was so surprised I almost started crying right there in the cereal aisle. "People are talking," she said, "but the ones who matter know you're not the bad guy here." It was the first time since this whole mess started that someone had taken my side without me having to explain anything. Later that night, Carol asked me why I didn't defend myself online. "Because the people who really know me don't need an explanation," I told her. "And the ones who believe Jessica's version were never really on my side anyway." She smiled sadly. You're stronger than I am. No, I said, just older. I've learned that peace is more important than being right. I walked Carol to her car and stood in my driveway for a long time. My house looked cozy and welcoming with the porch light on. The garden I had planted was blooming beautifully. This was my home, my safe place, and I had fought to keep it. I didn't lose my daughter that day. I lost the illusion of who she had become. And in a strange way, that loss was freeing. The first Saturday in September was hot and sticky. I spent the morning cleaning my house from top to bottom, not because it was dirty, but because I needed something to do with my hands. Every hour I didn't think about Jessica was a small victory. Around 2 p.m. my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, I saw Amy, Jessica's best friend from high school. I hadn't seen her in 2 years, not since she graduated from college. She looked nervous and kept fidgeting with her car keys. "Hi, Mrs. Chen," she said quietly. "Amy, what a surprise. Come in, come in." She sat on the edge of my couch like she might need to run away quickly. "Jessica doesn't know I'm here," she said right away. "I figured," I said. Amy took a deep breath. "I saw all the posts on Facebook, all the comments, and I've been really bothered by it because I know that's not who you are." I felt my eyes getting watery. "You came all this way to tell me that?" "I came to tell you that you're not crazy or mean or selfish. You're just protecting yourself, and I think you have every right to." That meant more to me than she could ever know. "She told me about the dinner," Amy continued, looking down at her hands. "Well, her version of it. But the next day, she was bragging to me about how she had cornered you with the lawyers. How she was sure you would cave in and sign everything over. It made me feel sick to my stomach." "She said that?" "Yes, she did. And when I told her that was wrong, she said, 'She's just an old lady. She doesn't need all that stuff anyway.'" Amy looked up at me with sad eyes. That's when I knew she wasn't the same Jessica I grew up with. "I don't know who this person is now, but it's not the girl who used to help you bake cookies for the whole neighborhood." I nodded because I didn't trust myself to speak without crying. Amy reached into her purse and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I wrote Jessica a letter telling her how disappointed I was in her. But I think maybe you should read it instead." I took the letter but didn't open it right away. "Thank you, Amy," I said. "I'm sorry this happened," she said as she stood up to leave. "I just wanted you to know that not everyone believes her story. Some of us remember what a good mom you were. What a good mom you still are." After she left, I sat on my couch holding the letter. I wasn't sure I wanted to read it. I wasn't sure I wanted to know what Amy really thought about my daughter, even if it was true. That night I made myself dinner and sat on my back porch to eat it. The stars were bright and beautiful. They looked the same as they did when Jessica was little, and we would lie on a blanket in the backyard counting them. People don't talk enough about the sadness of losing someone who is still alive. It's different from death. There's no funeral, no flowers, no casseroles from neighbors. Just a slow breaking apart of everything you thought was permanent. The next morning, I finally packed up the last of Jessica's things from her old bedroom. Her high school yearbooks, her soccer trophies, her prom dress that I had saved in a special box. I didn't throw them away. I just put them in the attic and labeled the box, Jessica's Things. Not because I was angry, but because I needed to accept that this chapter of my life was over. 2 days later, David showed up at my house unannounced. I saw his expensive car in my driveway and my stomach felt sick. He knocked on my door like a police officer. I opened it but didn't invite him in. "Margaret," he said in his fake charming voice. "We need to talk about this situation. You're making Jessica look bad with all this silent treatment. People are starting to ask questions." "Good," I said. "Maybe they should ask questions." He sighed like I was being difficult. "She's falling apart, you know. Crying all the time. Having panic attacks. This could ruin her wedding." "That sounds like her problem," I said. "She's your daughter," he said louder. "No," I said calmly. "She's your project now. You taught her that love means getting what you want. You taught her that guilt and manipulation are acceptable tools. You can keep her. David's face got red with anger. You're being incredibly selfish, he said. I stepped closer to him and spoke very clearly. No, I'm being sane. For the first time in years, I'm choosing my own happiness over your family's games. And if that means losing both of you, I'm okay with that. He stared at me for a moment, then turned around and walked back to his car without saying another word. I closed the door and locked it behind me. That night, I finally read Amy's letter. It wasn't mean or dramatic. It was just honest and sad. She wrote about the Jessica she used to know. The girl who would share her lunch with kids who forgot theirs. The girl who cried when she accidentally stepped on a bug. The girl who always stood up for the underdog. Amy's letter ended with this sentence. Some people choose to burn their own bridges, and maybe that's a blessing for the people they leave behind. She was right. It's funny how quickly people forget about drama when you stop feeding it. After David's visit and Jessica's online campaign ran out of steam, things got quiet. The phone stopped ringing. The mean comments stopped coming. I wasn't the villain of the week anymore. I was just a woman who had chosen herself over someone else's demands. And that's where real peace begins. Not with applause or apologies, but with quiet mornings and clean houses and thoughts that don't hurt anymore. The next week I took a little vacation. Just a weekend trip to the mountains where I used to go camping with Jessica when she was in elementary school. There was a cabin by a lake that I had always loved. No internet, no phone service, just me and the water and the trees. That first night, I built a fire and sat outside watching the flames dance. I thought about the woman I had been for most of my life. Always giving, always bending, always putting everyone else first. I had confused sacrifice with love for so long that I forgot I was a person with my own needs and wants. But sacrifice doesn't always earn you loyalty. Sometimes it just teaches people to keep taking. In that quiet place by the lake, I let myself grieve properly for the first time. I cried for the relationship I had lost and for the mother I had tried so hard to be. On my last day at the cabin, I found an old photo in my wallet. Jessica at age 6, sitting on my shoulders at the county fair. We were both laughing at something silly. I didn't throw the photo away. I put it in my journal because even though she hurt me deeply, I won't let bitterness erase the good memories. The love I gave her was real, even if she couldn't see it anymore. When I got home, Carol was waiting on my porch with iced tea and cookies. "You look different," she said. "I feel different," I told her. "Better." She handed me a glass of tea. "Jessica hasn't posted anything new in over a week. The drama seems to be dying down." I nodded but didn't say much. I wasn't checking her social media anymore. That part of me that needed to monitor every post and comment to see how I was being portrayed was gone. Carol and I sat on my porch in comfortable silence. My garden was blooming beautifully. My house looked perfect in the afternoon light. This was my life and I was finally at peace with it. A week later I got a letter in the mail with no return address. But I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was from Jessica. My hands shook as I opened it, not from hope, but from worry about what cruel thing she might say next. But it wasn't cruel. It was short and simple. "Mom, I don't know if you'll read this. I'm not ready to say I'm sorry yet, but I'm not ready to hate you forever either. I thought you were being mean to me, but maybe you were just protecting yourself. I'm starting to understand that. I hope you're doing okay. Love, Jessica." I didn't cry when I read it. I didn't call her or write back. I folded the letter and put it in my journal next to the old photograph. It wasn't an apology or a complete reconciliation, but it was acknowledgement. A tiny sign that somewhere deep inside whatever confusion she was living in, a part of her still remembered the woman who raised her. I could live with that because peace isn't about fixing every broken thing. It's about knowing when you've done enough. It's the wisdom to say, "I have given all I can give." When I look in the mirror now, I see a woman who stood up for herself. Not out of meanness, but because protecting yourself isn't cruelty. It's common sense. Have you ever had to choose your own peace over family pressure? When love becomes manipulation and guilt trips, Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. If this story made you think about your own family situations, please share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single comment and your stories matter to us. If you believe in setting healthy boundaries and choosing your own happiness, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Granny's Twisted Tales for more real-life family drama stories. Remember, you are not alone in your struggles, and your peace of mind is worth protecting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next story. Take care of yourselves, and remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no.